you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go. When the Sure Lady sings it, that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. My family and friends, as always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you but doesn't loan you money. So please stop asking. Maybe we need to start a whole Chris Voss Show loan division. Maybe is that what needs to happen? Maybe we need one of those check loan places that's on your local corner there that offers interest rates of 10,000% or something like that. I've heard they're not all that good for you. Anyway, I guess we're losing some sponsors of check loan places at this pace. Anyway, guys, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss won the TikTok and Chris Voss Facebook.com. You can find all of our groups there and the Chris Voss Show and everything we do on Facebook. We're kind of like, I think we have like 5 or 6 properties on that silly site. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing young man on the show with us today. We're going to be talking about his insights of starting a business, being an entrepreneur, and everything else that went into some of the technology he's building that's pretty darned amazing, and we'll get into it. So today we have Andy Ide on the show with us today. He has created software that is called horserecords.info, and so we're going to get into it. Welcome to the show. How are you, Andy?
Oh, g'day, Chris. I'm good. Hello to all your listeners.
Hello and welcome. It sounds like you're coming to us from Australia down there.
Yes. So if I sound quite far away, it's because I am actually on the other side of the world. But
there you go.
I'm based in the southern part of Australia, in the middle. Yeah.
There you go. We love Australia. Australians are always nice, wonderful people, and I always, and I guess they have to be since they live in this dangerous world of animals that everything on the island tries to kill them.
That's true. That's
good
true.
for you for surviving. You're a software engineer, and
yes.
you married into a horse family. So
yes,
that's kind of interesting. That sounds like being Catholic and marrying into the Protestants. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, my mother-in-law was the first to start Australian stock horse stud in South Australia, which is my state, in the 60s. So it's the oldest stock horse stud in South Australia, and one of the oldest in Australia, actually. And I'm a city boy. I was wide-eyed, and I fell in love with a horse girl, and at the marriage, at the wedding, everyone was giggling, but I never found out why until afterwards. So.
That's an expensive trade.
Yes.
Being in the horse trade. That's it's just, but you probably end up married to her because you were horsing around. We're gonna do the horse jokes on the show here today. So basically, I guess, tell us a story. One day your wife was dissatisfied with storing records and notebooks and whiteboards, and they were degrading, and it was a real problem. And you're like, "Hey, I've got some skills."
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, my wife Kim, she's quite bright, but people would call her up and ask her about a horse she bred 15 years ago.
Wow.
And how was he to break in? And even though my wife's memory is like a steel trap, 15 years, it's a long time. Yeah. And of course, you keep everything in a notebook, but the notebooks degrade over time, and you got to file them. Do you remember where a notebook from 20 years ago is? No. Whiteboards are just a snapshot. People who rely on their memory is great, but our memory isn't as good as it used to be. So she got me to code something that could be used online, and I built that for our stud. So a stud is like a farm, like a group of horses. So I built that for our stud, worked really well. And then Kim said, well, why don't you let other horse people use this? So I took the knowledge from the one stud and spread it out and allowed, everyone to use it, all breeds and all disciplines.
There you go. Yeah, why keep it to yourself there, eh?
Mm.
And so you basically help give her a software resolution to what she's doing. Now, was it the
Yes.
first business you'd ever started before, or?
No, it's not. No, I originally started in banking and call centers
Oh, really?
and doing the stats and recording
Mm-hmm.
call wait times and stuff like that. And then I moved into my own web development business. And that went pretty well until the GFC in 2008. And I woke up one day and I had no emails. I had no work come in.
Mm-hmm.
And it had just been a case of everyone just decided they could push budgets for websites out a few years. And I had to go back and work for the man. But then I worked salaried positions. And then Horse Records came along and it achieved success. So yeah, that's my main focus these days.
There you go. And so how long have you been doing this now with the software?
Yes, we launched in May 2021.
Wow.
So yeah, COVID was 2020. So I was able to get a few things done. I wanted to launch in 2020, but that didn't happen. But May 21. So what are we? 3.5 years now. So that's it's growing quite well. Yeah.
There you go. So the horse business. I mean, it's probably one of those businesses that needs to get disrupted or interrupted with whatchamacallit, so that you can do the you can record the stuff and yada yada yada,
Yeah.
right? And
you need that information. It's like when you sell a horse, if you can provide all the information, from foaling, when it was weaned, whether it was gelded, all its health things, like, it had an injury on its hock. That's why it's got that scar there, but it hasn't affected it. Here's everything we did with it. Here's its vaccination status and, its worming status. And it's been to a dentist and all of that.
yeah.
And by the way, here's its performance and all the training we did with it. It's like when you buy a car, getting the full service history makes it more valuable.
It's a Carfax for horses.
It basically, yeah. It's like, okay, I can trust this owner who's selling it because, I can see the horse has been regularly, its tetanus is up to date and it's been wormed and, it's always had, this body temperature and, so I know that if the temperature goes up or down, then something's happening with the animal. Because like humans, some horses, for example, run hot have a higher temperature. Others are a little bit low. So how do you know if they're sick or not if you don't have that mean or what their normal is? So they're the sort of things we record. We also record scanning results. So obviously breeding horses is a big thing. And what you would do is you would scan the mare and see when it's due to ovulate. And then when it's due to ovulate, it's when you either serve the horse or provide AI, like not artificial intelligence, artificial insemination, which is interesting because I'm into AI, artificial intelligence. I'm talking about artificial insemination and my initials are AI, so don't get them mixed up.
Artificial insemination is my favorite way to breed. So just for myself personally, I don't know what that means.
Do you have horses, Chris? Or
no, I'm just artificially inseminating with other people.
Right.
I'm just doing it. It sounded funny in my head at the time.
It's a bit. But once you know when
that's how I pick up all my girlfriends at the bar. I just, hey babe, you want to artificially inseminate? You want to go home? I don't know what that means, but there you go. So, this is the thing I love about entrepreneurism, why we talk about entrepreneurism on the show. We have people like yourself on so that we can inspire people to be entrepreneurs. This is the great thing about it. And so you had a problem. You saw that you could maybe fix the problem. And you took and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix this problem. We're going to do this, that, and the other. and wham bam, there you are. You've got it fixed. You've got it going.
A really nice niche.
Yeah.
There's not too many software engineers who know the horse world, and there's not too many people in the horse world who know technology. So you're always kind of standing. People are always aware of what you do because you're the only one doing it that they've ever met. There are other horse software products, not as good as, of course, or as comprehensive, but you're usually the only one in the room with horse people who knows computers or is a software engineer. So that makes interesting conversations.
There you go. Now, competitor-wise, you don't need to name any competitors because we don't want to give them free ad.
Free ad, yeah.
Are there competitors in the market, and what sets you apart is what I'm really after.
Yeah, there are competitors, but what I've found is most of them are either it's an old system that hasn't been developed for the modern web. So it's some system that was built in the 80s or 90s on a desktop, and they've put some wrapper on it, and still running DOS, and So there's that sort of competitor. There's the other sort of competitor that just has converted a cow software and just changed the name to horses, which means it's cows and horses are different. Cows you tend to manage, cattle you manage kind of in groups, where horses have names. So every horse is its own little thing. You don't say, okay, this paddock of these 100 horses are doing this. It's all one. And the other thing is most other software is really specialized, where mine is more general and more customizable. So the other software, they say, right, this is what we've chosen for you to record. Where I say, well, what an Aussie with an Australian workhorse does might be different to what a cowboy in Texas does, or a dressage rider in Europe. So what I've allowed it is to be customized. So you can create event types that you want. So, for example, if you have a horse go to a chiropractor, you can create the chiropractic event and add that. Some people give horses massages, so you would have a massage event. Now, someone else might not do that, so they won't have that event. If the different disciplines do different things, so racing, you might have water treadmills and treadmill work. Dressage, you're just doing it in the arena there. Endurance, which are like the marathon runners of the horse world, so they're the movie Hidalgo. This huge endurance race with horses, they have different requirements as well. So because you can customize your event types and customize, say, the type of training that you're recording, it means that the system becomes what you want. It's not what I'm telling you should do. I give some standard, there's standard events everybody has, like gelding, feeding, that sort of thing, veterinary, but you can add whatever you want. And I think that's what makes us so much different than any other software. And plus, if a new competitor comes on and says, but we do this really specific part of the horse world, I can go, well, you just customize it to do that, which is exactly what happened with our mare scan tool, the breeding side of things. Someone said, there's this software we pay thousands a month for that allows us to record the results of a urinary scan. And I said, well, I'll put that in. So I coded that up. So then, they've saved thousands a month because they don't have to buy that software anymore. They just use mine, which they're already paying for. So
there you go.
So a new competitor comes on because it's customizable, all handled. So I don't really even bother thinking about competitors too much because why do I need to? Someone wants something, I just code it up.
Yeah, there you go. Just code it up.
Just code it up.
Get her done.
It's good.
Get her done. So tell us about your journey through life. What made you first become an entrepreneur? What were some of your influences, and what were some of the other things that drove you into learning to write code and software?
Yeah, many years ago, a couple of decades ago. I'm older than I look. I do have grey hair, Chris.
You and me, buddy. You and
I didn't have grey hair before horses. Now I do. I did a project for a client, and at the time I got paid pretty well. I got, I think, 10 grand for it. And, I'd spent 3 months, almost every day coding this project for this client. So this was in the early 2000s. And I got 10 grand. I thought, wow, that's great. And he immediately, in the first month, he on-sold that and made 15 grand.
Wow.
And then 15 grand every month after that.
Wow.
And even though our agreement was that I built the software for 10 grand, the fact that because he had these connections and he could on-sell the software to his customers, that he made the cost of the software in the first 3 weeks.
Wow.
And then there never was a trail that came back to me. And while I don't have any issue with that client of mine, because that was our agreement and we followed the agreement, I just thought, this sucks.
I could have been making
I did all the work.
Action.
Yeah, I did all the work. He had the contacts, and he made money off my labor. So that's why I've always sort of gone to that, want to work for myself, because I don't want to make other people rich. I just like to make myself rich.
Oh, I see how.
Yeah, that's basically that simple, mate. I mean, you do that by helping people, but I was just always, I was the one who did all the work and created the whole product. And just because he knew people, he could distribute it better. And I just thought, no, let me in on that action.
Let me in on that action,
yeah.
so I can take advantage of that. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why that's something you'd want to do. It's definitely more interesting that way. So you design this software. What's the future that you see for your horse trading software? The future of maybe some things you're working on, innovations. Does AI? Are you toying with AI?
Yeah,
yet?
I do.
Maybe that.
I do have a little bit of AI already.
Oh, really? There you go.
Yeah, if you go to horserecords.info. And then under tools, there's a foal name generator where you can put in some attributes of a foal, just, a pretend one, and it uses AI to come up with some names for you.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
There you go.
So it does normal name, like single name names, which are typical for like, quarter horses and stuff like that. And then you've got the double names, which are more racehorsey type names. And the idea is it gives you inspiration on what to name your foal. And that's my most visited page on my website. The highest SEO ranked page is a little tool I created one day thinking, oh, that'd be cool just to be able to come up with a name for your foal. And now it's the biggest page on my site. Not my front page, not my testimonials page. No, it's the foal name generator. So you never know when these little tools sort of hit a sweet spot.
There you go. Well, it sounds awesome. And you've got people using it all over the world.
Yes.
It's something people can use in America here and other countries. I act like I'm an American, so I act like this country's the only one that
what's the only country?
Typical.
So one of my first clients was Texas. First day of launch, one of the first customers was from Texas. I've certainly got people in Texas and California that I know of. Most of my clients are in Australia, but I am expanding, to Europe and America, trying to get a bit of a foothold into Argentina because they've got a very strong polo there. But yeah, it's mainly English-speaking countries, Chris. So that's all. That's where we're at the moment. Yeah,
that is awesome, man. That is freaking awesome, dude.
And because it's Australian dollars, it's very cheap for Americans. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So,
cheap for Americans.
Yeah, 60. So our base plan for 7 horses is $12 a month, which is about, I don't know, $7 or $8 American.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, very, very cost effective if you've got horses, and you can try, you join and you get a horse for free, so you can log on and have a look and, add your events, see if it works for you, and then you can upgrade your plan and look at your other,
So you can test
horses.
it.
Yeah, test it out, mate.
Test it first to see if it works and all that good stuff. There you go.
Yeah,
awesome.
Our big horsome hairy goal is to basically, I took it a bit from Google back in the early days, but I want to organize all the world's horse information. I would love all the horse information to be in one place, because then there's that, you can then go the real ethical looking after animals route, and just, doing your best to bring it all together. So when you sell a horse, you know exactly what's happened to it.
Yeah, it'd be great to have a directory, kind of like, I know dogs have like an AKC directory, and so you can see how that works, and you can follow them with it and all that stuff. And so there's a big project in Australia at the moment called the Horse Traceability Project, and the idea is it's more of a biological safety type thing. So if a disease gets, like equine influenza, which is like the flu for horses, but it stuffs them, it can kill them. Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a case of that a few years back, like a decade ago.
Oh, wow.
It came into the country, didn't get quarantined properly. Racing industry shut down for several months while they try to contain it. So the horse traceability tool is, I would love every horse to be in horse records, and people just register the paddock where they're located. So if there's ever a breakout of a disease, we can go, okay, all the horses within this radius, we can contact them immediately and say to the owners and say, hey guys, there's a breakout, you need to do this. At the moment, we don't have that. We just rely on news reports and stuff, but it would be cool to just be able to contact people directly. So that project's still in place, and I think it's still coming. I think America could do something like, anywhere there's horses, it's good to know where they are, where they're concentrated, so if there's any disease outbreak, we can do something about it a lot more efficiently. So that would be cool.
Yeah,
also,
most definitely.
Yeah. The reason I chose a SaaS business model is just from a business point of view, it's recurring income every month. You don't sort of hit December, January and don't get paid, and that keeps you just developing and being able to pay for your developers over time. So that's why I picked SaaS. Yeah. So
SaaS software. We have a lot of people that come on and build SaaS software. Software as
a service. Software as a service. Yeah,
software as a service. There you go.
Yeah, so you subscribe, pay a monthly amount, or you can pay annually and usually get a bit of a discount, and then you know that the company is always making money, so that they can continually improve and always be upgrading what they're doing over time. Yeah.
There you go. That's good to have. Well, this has been very insightful. You start your own company, you solve your own problems. This is why we like talking about entrepreneurism, is because people usually start out trying to solve a problem they have personally, and then they realize that, hey, we could share this and help other people. And then, usually sometimes that transcends to worldwide distribution or other things. But I mean, it's such the great beauty of entrepreneurism, and hopefully it gives people in the audience a lot of ideas to building their own companies, maybe their own venues. Maybe there's something they see, like how to stir your coffee better. Or, there's a million different ways that things need to be innovated. And this sounds like something too that's this is something Silicon Valley is always going on about with their words like disrupt. We need to disrupt this thing. And there's a lot of still old world technologies that are being used, like your wife was using a whiteboard to record all this stuff.
That's right.
I can't imagine.
Any stable you walk into, there's a whiteboard. Yeah. And
if anybody accidentally wipes it off, or a horse comes up and wipes it off with his tail, you're kind of screwed.
One piece of advice I can give to people who are wanting to perhaps code something, if they see that there's something else that does the same thing, So what? Just code your own.
Yeah.
There's in almost any area, there's always competition. But sometimes just you doing it is enough. You don't need the whole pie. You can just have a nice portion of it. There's enough to go around. So don't hold yourself back.
And there's a lot of ways to innovate too.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, that's the great thing of the other reason we have a lot of entrepreneurs like yourself on the show is you can see things from different paradigm shifts. So, there may be, like I remember when, paper clips were, you had paper clips. And I remember thinking, okay, well, that seems like that's pretty good innovation. I don't think you can do much more with paper clips. But they came out with paper clips that were painted, the paper clips that had stripes on them. Paper clips that started having these indent cuts in them that would hold the paper better, like these little grind slices that would grip it better.
Different messages on types, the paper clips.
Yeah. And so there seems to be no end to how something can be improved. And another note to entrepreneurs is whatever you make, you've always got to keep improving. Because if you're not, there's going to be somebody out there who takes what you do and figures it out. And so you've got to either eat your own lunch and innovate, or somebody else will beat you to it.
Yeah. And say you're an entrepreneur who wants to code a mobile game. If you go, oh, this game's exactly like this other game. But what they don't think is that the player sees the new game and goes, yeah, this is like another game I've played, but hey, this one's a new one. So the customer isn't quite concerned about competition that you might be. So another piece of advice I have for entrepreneurs is success is a staircase, not an elevator. The big wins that you hear about in the news often have a huge amount of work behind them. Everyone wants their company to win the lottery, the company lottery, and suddenly have 100,000 users all paying $1,000 a month, and you can retire to the Caribbean. But the truth of the matter is that success is just a step along the way that slowly takes you up the staircase. And then one day someone sees you and says, how'd you get up there? Was it by elevator? And you go, no. It was this big, long staircase behind me. So I've got a blog where I talk about, that concept a couple of times. So,
I like that.
I'll put it in the show notes. Yeah. It's hard because you're sort of conditioned and you grow up always seeing big successes and big wins. And the news is only ever about big wins. It's never about the 10 years of hard work and all the emotions you go through thinking, is this going to work? They only look at the last win where you've won some award or something. So just entrepreneurs keep going, keep grinding, guys, keep punching. Yeah.
There you go. Keep punching away, boys. There you go. So as we go out, give people a final pitch out to check out your software and .coms, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so the website's horserecords.info. It's for recording all your horse information. It's all breeds, so whether it's Australian stock horses, quarter horses, Arabs, whatever, all breeds and all disciplines, from polo to eventing to racing to dressage to cross country. You can do it all. It's all fully customizable, so you can run the system how you want and record what you want. It's very cost effective. You buy annually and it's cheaper. I also have gift cards, so you can give the horse person, who has everything, you give them a gift card for horse records, and it's all electronic and all emailed to you, so that's all good. So that's horserecords.info. And if you want to see some of my more nerdy things, you can have a look at my blog, which is djangoandy.com, DJANGO Andy.com. And I'll send those links to you, Chris, so you can put them in the show notes.
There you go. Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. They'll be in the show notes, folks, so you can take and get them. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Andy. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. I'll chat to you later.
Thank you. And thanks to our audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.